Moondial is one of those dramas that only the BBC can do well. Everything about it oozes quality from the direction, music and definitely the acting. The use of Belton House rounds it off to perfection. But it also has that overriding creepy and threatening tone as well, which slips so well into that just after 5 PM slot on the BBC on a Wednesday evening. Want to know more? Then listen on. The plot is both simple and at the same time complex. At its heart, Minty Kaine, whose proper first name is Araminta, which is only used by the villain of the piece, has a world thrown upside down, firstly by the death of her father, which took place a year or so previous, and then while stopping with her mother's godmother, Aunt Mary, at Belton, her mother has a serious car accident and is left hospitalised and unconscious. Whilst exploring the grounds of Belton to help clear her mind, she comes across an old gentleman called Old World, who tells her about the ghost children lost in the grounds and beseeches her to save them. In the events that follow, we see Minty going back and forth through time, trying to save Tom, the physically abused kitchen boy with consumption, from around 100 years previous, and Sarah, a child with a port wine stain on her face who is being verbally abused and called Devil Child by her carer Miss Vole and the local children. Later on, Minty meets Miss Raven, a modern-day ghost hunter who just looks like Miss Vole. Minty must outfox Miss Vole and Miss Raven, save the children, and at the same time coax her mother from the coma. Moondial was broadcast in 6 25-minute episodes on Wednesday evenings from the 10th of February to the 16th of March 1988, and repeated again 2 years later in 1990. It is shot almost entirely on location at Belton House, near Grantham in Lincolnshire, and it is this location work which makes the programme so special. No surprises then that the author of the original book, Helen Creswell, based the story at Belton and lived not far from there herself. I'll be honest, I didn't see Moondial on its first transmission. I was too old and had other interests than children's TV series. In fact, I only came across this whilst researching these videos. I definitely missed out on this one. I can't praise it highly enough. For all those who talk about Children of the Stones or Raven, which we'll look at later on, this is the gold standard of kids' TV shows. The only thing wrong with it? Perhaps the ending comes a little too quickly, or maybe that's just me as an adult. For kids it may well have been perfect. Moondial is based on a book written by Nottinghamshire author Helen Creswell, who was also responsible for the Lizzie Dripping series we looked at earlier. It was published in 1987, and this series followed quickly afterwards. There's an interview with the director, Colin Cant, who explains how he didn't quite understand the story until he actually met with Helen Creswell, who taught him through it, and I've put a link to the interview with Colin Cant in the description below. Although VHS versions of this story were published, they were greatly edited. There have been a couple of DVD releases since, but all 6 episodes are available on YouTube, including an excellent version which has been upscaled into HD. Links are in the description box below. And I must give a huge shout out, by the way, to award-winning writer Helen Creswell. She's largely forgotten about these days and totally out of fashion. If you like this style of writing, I suggest The Secret World of Polly Flint from 1982, also a Central TV series from 1987, and the novel Stonestruck, published in 1996. The cast in Moondial are outstanding. Siri Neal, plucked from drama school for her first major role, is remarkable in this production. She plays Minty to perfection, a young teenage girl just slightly on the edge of losing everything, but giving her all to save the children. She's got an air of Helena Bonham Carter about her, her eyes, her facial expressions, etc. You can even see her as Bellatrix Lestrange in the Harry Potter movies quite easily. Based on this series, you can't help wondering why Siri Neal didn't go on to do bigger and better things within the industry. But in the early 2000s, she decided to retire from acting, which she does explain in an interview, link below. She's also done several audios for Big Finish productions, most recent being a return to the Luther Arkwright series in 2023. Tony Sands, who played Tom, is still in the industry, having numerous roles over the years as actor, producer and writer. And I put a link to his personal webpage below. Jacqueline Pearce does her best to steal every scene she's in, giving her twin characters of Miss Vole and Miss Raven her best Serverland bad girl vibes. Jacqueline sadly died on the 3rd of September 2018, aged 74. A special mention must go to Arthur Hewlett, who gave Old World an air of mystery, and by the time he appeared in Moondial, he'd been in countless TV series from the 1960s, including Quatermass, Doctor Who, Blake Seven and many, many, many more. He died aged 89 in 1997. Almost all of the series was shot at Belton Hall near Grantham, which is a National Trust property. The excellent direction of this series give Belton a magical, eerie atmosphere. The house, the Moondial, the orangery, the fountains, everything else are there waiting for you to see. Have a wander around like I did and soak in the memories of this wonderful TV series. I went there on a sunny day in June and there was plenty of space to park and walk around and take photos and videos. They even filmed hit Netflix TV series Bridgerton here as well. Of all the TV series we've looked at or will look at in these videos, perhaps Moondial is one of those which has aged the best, with the exception of the scene where Aunt Mary doesn't know what headphones are. It's wonderfully produced, well acted and totally mysterious. What special effects there are perfectly acceptable even now, but it's Belton that completes the magical feeling of this series. And if you've got kids or grandkids, watch it with them and then take them to Belton House and I guarantee they'll love it all too. Till next time, goodbye.